Hey everyone, welcome back to the Not Just Politics podcast. The following is a conversation with Logan Dubil, his second time on the show. He is a political, conservative content creator and journalist, as well as a marketing and sales senior at Point Park University. We sat down to discuss a little bit of Star Wars, which we were just keeping up on, a little bit of the culture war, other areas of politics, the Trump indictment, and a lot more. This was a really fun conversation. It's always great to engage with Logan. He's a good friend of mine. Now, if you want to support the show, check out links for social media in the description. And enjoy. We're on. We're live. We're live. Will we get demonetized if I do the finger gun to the audience? I don't. I love doing that. You ever done that? I'm telling you, doing this, it's just fun. I don't know why. It's just something fun. Like I it's always in a joking manner, but I'm always just like, listen here. It's just fun. You got to do double. Double sometimes is great. Yeah, it's fun to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Logan Dubil is back in the studio. What's going on?
Not much. I'm just trying to graduate.
Binged. Yeah, you're getting out of here. That's crazy. You're gonna escape. You're gonna escape Point Prank.
Point Prank.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they got to rebrand the pillar.
Yeah.
Just take the R, put it here. Move the switch the R and the A and put an N, and then it's actually nice because it lines up. See, it's two 5-letter words. See, the N is in the same spot, so it lines up.
2x5
nice.
box there.
See, the P's would line up, right? I'm telling you, this would be great.
And the N would line up.
And that's what I'm saying. And then you could
God.
center
Missed
university under
opportunity.
it.
Opportunity.
Maybe I'll pitch it to the new president when I invite him on the show. Have you met him yet or talked to him?
Not at all.
I'll be honest, I've heard mixed things, but I don't like to listen to those people until I
haven't really
meet the
looked
guy.
into him yet. Pitt just got a new president too. I looked into her.
Really?
But not our school.
Huh. So wait, so Pitt, their president resigned? Or did they get fired or what happened?
I don't really know, to be honest. But the new I guess they use the term chancellor over there.
That's fancy.
Yeah. So
the Supreme Chancellor? Is it Palpatine?
It is Palpatine.
It is. Whoa.
No, but she used to work at the University of Minnesota. And
Soda! What? Because he's in Minnesota, so I played the soda.
Yes.
No, I hit the soda. anytime
that was actually perfect. That was like.
Anytime I hear anybody say Minnesota, that's all I think of.
But yeah, she used to work there as the president of that university, and now she's here. But apparently, her salary is $950,000.
$950,
which is a 36% increase compared to the last person who served in that position.
So the previous Pitt president was getting what, like 6?
Like I think it was like high 6, low 7.
High 6.
Yeah.
Okay, and now she's getting. Okay, so we got angry at Dawn Green for making what, like 570 something thousand a year, but I know that I have, like you said, the time mark thing doesn't work. But here's the thing: I've never time stamped and then looked at the audio file on the board after. So I'm just gonna do one just to see if it pops up. Yeah, just time stamping the episodes. I said that I was gonna start doing that. And I just haven't gotten around to listening back to the whole episode and time stamping it because it's tough. Yeah, I haven't met the new president. All I know is the Globe put out a hit piece on him or whatever the second he stepped into office. Did you see that?
I've tried to.
It was so dumb.
Stay away from the Globe.
It was so dumb. They the article started out by talking about oh, this is who he is and this is what he's done and this is where he's been and then in the second half of the article, they snuck in all of this and he donated money to Republicans in the 2022 midterm cycle. And it essentially...
Maybe I should meet the guy.
It evolved into an opinion piece halfway through.
In the news section.
Yeah. And then apparently the administration went to that person who wrote it and told them to take it, to revise the article and take it down.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It was a dumb article. It was dumb.
All of them were dumb.
No, they're not all dumb. I don't think they're all dumb. I genuinely do see some students covering valid stuff, and the articles are written well. But that particular one was stupid because it just didn't.
You know,
it didn't even give him a chance. They had students commenting, being like, "Does he even know where he is?"
You know what my favorite article was? There's a student here who raised a lot of money and went over to East Palestine.
Oh yeah, you're still. I listen. I've just got to say it to you once. Like they're not. I get it. They should have covered that, but they're not going to do it. I
Well,
they're not going to do it. But you did. You did raise money, and you did go over to East Palestine, and you did give money to people, which I thought was cool. Were you? So here's something genuinely that I was thinking about whenever you did that. Is like doing a good thing's doing a good thing, right?
yeah.
That's what it is. I do worry about, and this is something I want to talk to you about today, like a broader topic, but I think that East Palestine got turned into a political football.
100%.
I think it did. And to be completely honest, that was the only little problem that I had with the tweet that you put out. Was it was like, since President Biden won't help, I will help.
Yeah.
And fine. But I do think, I just don't like the political football thing that we've been.
No, I mean, I understand that viewpoint. Just like from my perspective, I wasn't placing blame on Biden. I wasn't saying that happened because of him.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's a disaster,
But
you
to
usually go. And
to your credit,
and he still hasn't gone.
yeah, to your credit, yes.
Yeah.
Biden took mad long to show up, and so did Pete Buttigieg.
He's still taking mad long. To show.
Yeah. So I get that, right? But that is something that just. But again, like everybody does that.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. Like everyone likes to do.
I mean, Trump took too long to show up too. I mean, I'm a little bit upset with how long it took him. I mean, he got there, which is good, but he could have been there sooner.
He did the classic Trump. He bought everybody McDonald's. Which again, it's a nice thing
I was
to do.
there. I was there the day after. I was like, if I was there a day before, Trump could have bought me McDonald's. Missed opportunity.
No, this is the funniest part. Every time I hear about Trump buying McDonald's, I think of the tweet that he made when he had bought everyone the fast food in the White House.
And he just had the
Listen,
table full on his table.
In the moments of like the lore of this show. That is a legendary story.
Oh,
I
yeah.
must bring that up every fifth episode. I must bring up that story, and we must pull up that picture because it's just so fucking funny. I love that. I love that tweet. That tweet is one of my favorite tweets of all time with the hamburgers. I don't call them hamburgers now. I don't. I call them hamburgers exclusively because of Trump. Like he gets full credit for that. That tweet single-handedly.
You're like, if I give Trump credit for anything, it's that.
No, I mean, listen. You can give Trump credit for things. I give him the biggest thing in my life that I give him credit for is that he single-handedly changed the way that I say hamburgers because I no longer call them hamburgers.
Trump, if you're listening, you really.
He's a friend of the show.
Changed
He's
the life
listening.
over.
He's listening right now.
Yeah.
He's a friend of the show, longtime listener, and he knows. I appreciate him for helping me to fix my vocabulary because I was calling them the wrong thing for 18 years, way too long. Anyway, how's everything else been? You're out here grinding. You're one of the
busy.
you're a workhorse, dude. This guy's out here DMing me at 4:30 in the morning, being like, "Hey, who is that?"
There's people
Is
looking in
somebody
here.
outside? Okay,
Yeah.
I get wrong. All right.
No,
No, but anyway, yeah, you're out here DMing me at like 4:30 in the morning with like a Star Wars edit. I'm like, this guy's still,
no.
like, how's this guy still awake?
No, I'm literally like, there was a point,
Nuts.
I want to say a couple weeks ago, I was like nocturnal. And there was a day I just had to pull an all-nighter because I was like, if I just pull an all-nighter, I'll just go to bed early tonight and fix this. But
Yep.
I've just been traveling so much. And
You've been all over this place.
Yeah.
You've been all over.
Well, I mean, end of February, I did my one-day East Palestine trip. A couple days after that, I was in D.C. for CPAC. That was like 4 days maybe.
Yep.
Then I had car trouble, so I had to go home.
Which is all the way to Philly. That's 5 hours.
Yeah, it's a 5 hour. It was a 5 hour. Well, I went straight home from D.C. So it was
Okay, gotcha.
I went from Pittsburgh to D.C., D.C. to Philly, and
Gotcha.
then Philly to Pittsburgh. But
Holy cow.
got a new car, upgraded my car.
New car unlocked. What car? You got an
It's
FXP to unlock
it's
it?
a 2012 Chevy Equinox.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
love her. It's a big upgrade compared to my '02 Suzuki.
Okay, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bigger car now.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
definitely.
gotcha.
And then me and a couple of friends from Pitt went to Ohio. They got to see Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens.
Yes, I saw that.
Got some cool protest footage there. We just had Cabot Phillips and Riley Gaines, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later, that I've attended. And then we got Michael Knowles coming up on Tuesday. That should be
In 4
interesting.
days. Yep.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
This
I'm
guy's
gonna be
crazy.
honest.
This guy's crazy. He's out here. No, seriously, like you're working hard, and I definitely see it. Just DMing me Star Wars edits, which I appreciate all of them.
I got to keep everyone
I
up
love-
with
yeah, I mean,
with the edits and the conspiracy theories.
The edits are crazy.
Amazing.
The
I
edits
love
are
'em.
actually really cool.
I love them.
Yeah,
like there are accounts that are just dedicated to like making a couple edits per episode or movie, and I'm
Sure.
like, thank you guys for
yeah, thank you
doing
for
the
giving
Lord's
us.
work.
Yeah, it's cool. And speaking of which, yeah, I have officially got myself caught up on The Mandalorian. It took me a while to get through The Last of Us, which was. They better not mess up season 2. I know the
that is
producers
on my
are
list.
listening to this episode. Season 1 was a banger. Honestly, season 1 of The Last of Us was some of the best TV I think I've ever seen.
I'm
It was so.
I'm gonna
good.
have to prioritize that over the other things on my list right now.
I
I'm
keep-
not doing
I keep
anything
messing with
until
this one.
Wednesday. Like I'm just
You're-
Mandalorian focused,
Oh, you're finishing up,
and then I'll start a new project.
yeah, The Last of Us was really good. We're in the age of Pedro Pascal.
Oh,
he's
no.
in his
Yeah.
he's in his going crazy. Seriously, he's good. Anyway, yeah, but so let's talk about that. I don't know. Season 3 is kind of.
Season
will
3,
say-
literally, like I was talking to someone yesterday, and he said that he hasn't started it yet, but he wants to catch up. And I went, you can jump to episode 7.
You actually
There's
can.
really like nothing.
I think there were a couple. in the early
couple
on.
like important parts of the story, but episodes as a whole that are worth watching. Fully no.
Yeah, I think that season 1 was a 10 out of 10. It was really, really good.
I think
And
season
then-
1 and 2 were 10 out of 10s.
And then I think season 2 was like a 9. It was still really, really good, but it just wasn't the same. Like, there's something about, because it was such a new thing. It's a Western in
Yeah.
Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is all kind of a Western if you think about it, but this one was really Western.
This is just like
Hype.
straight bounty hunter,
Bounty hunter, like
guns, no lightsaber.
no lightsabers, which
Yeah.
is like
love it.
I
I
love
love
Star
it.
Wars. I love Star Wars when there's no lightsabers. That to me is some of
That's
the best
why I
Star
liked
Wars.
Andor so much. Like,
Yeah,
not
Andor
a single lightsaber.
And Rogue One too.
Yeah,
except for
except for
the exception
yeah.
of the Darth Vader scene, which is still one of the coolest.
But that was, I mean, that scene without a lightsaber wouldn't have worked.
no,
so.
and it was one of the coolest scenes we've ever been.
Oh,
given.
yeah.
It was cool. Anyway, yes, but I don't know. I feel like season 3 is kind of washed. I feel like they lost the magic a little bit. Grogu's still adorable. He's still really funny, and the characters are still cool. It just feels like they lost the magic a little bit. They
Yeah.
just didn't. They should have stopped with season 2. They probably should have just stopped. They should have stopped. They should have let Grogu stay with Luke. And
yeah,
then,
like what's the point of introducing that? If
it wasn't going to
nothing's
happen.
Go.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then that's what Boba Fett was, like a continuation of the Luke.
Yeah,
and
it was
Grogu
Mandalorian
story.
season 2 and a
Yeah.
half.
And
was.
then we haven't seen him since, which he might. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think they're gonna use 2 season finales to use Luke. But
No, they can't.
I
They
have
can't.
I have quite a few conspiracies about what's gonna happen.
The only reason why I guess they didn't have Grogu stay with Luke is that because that means that Kylo Ren would have had to kill him
Yeah.
in the in between, which is like that's fucked up. You can't do that
Yeah.
to us. Plus, who knows if Grogu may have been more powerful than him, so that might have not really worked out. In the
It's a
end.
little fucked up, but I like Star Wars when they
I like
do that.
th-
When
there
they,
has
when
to
they
be
take those
there,
risks.
yeah, there
kill
has
off
there has
main
to be
character.
stakes. There has to be stakes.
I mean, not everyone can live forever.
No,
Like, I don't want Grogu dying of natural death.
no. I would rather. I mean, yeah. Honestly, I would have been more happy with that. I would have been happy if they just were done with season 2. They just had the Mandalorian go off and do his own thing, and who knows what would happen to him? We don't know. That's kind of the fun of it.
Yeah.
And then just have Grogu live with Luke, and maybe Kylo Ren killed him off. Maybe he escapes.
Maybe it's just open up for interpretation.
It's kind of like the box in Pulp Fiction. It's like, what's in the case? They don't tell you.
Yeah.
You get to make that up
Which,
on your own.
like
It's kind of fun. of it.
there's a lot to be gaps in the storyline. Which
Yeah, and they're
there
starting to
are
fill them.
multiple projects of Star Wars which I'm like they weren't needed, but I'm happy that they did because it provides context. Like
Yeah.
Rogue One, everyone like was like
People
that
hate
movie
on
was.
Rogue
I know.
One
I
way too
love.
much.
It's
That
literally
movie
my
is-
favorite movie. It's so good.
It's so good, and people don't
And
like
it just makes so much. It just adds something to the story. Like, yeah, they didn't have to make the movie, but I thought it was really well done.
I thought it was great. I
Yeah.
loved Rogue One, and I thought, yeah, I think you're right. Like Andor is not necessary, the Mandalorian's not necessary, but they're fun and they're
Oh,
the
yeah.
world building.
And it
is my
adds a
favorite
lot.
part.
No, because literally, like in Andor, like they're building the Death Star or
Mhm.
whatever, and that was a cool little addition. Kenobi, you find out that they have the little like graves or they have all the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds a little bit of something. Now with the Grogu thing, like you find out they want his blood to create the clones or whatever. So.
Yeah, and he was there on Order 66, which is the more we see it, the more sad I get when I think about it.
that Order 66 scene.
It was
the
so sad.
the Jedi
That saved him, dude. That guy was crazy. He was double lightsaber.
You know
we
who
gotta
that
put
is?
we got to put a sport. No, who the heck is that?
that's the actor that played Jar Jar Binks.
Wait, the Jedi,
the Black Jedi.
the black guy. That
Yeah.
guy voiced Jar Jar Binks.
I don't know if he voiced him, but I think he was the costume.
Oh, he was the mocap guy.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I like when they do that.
Yeah, he was like suicidal or something. I'm pretty sure.
Dude,
Yeah, for the Jar Jar.
I don't get why anybody hates on Jar Jar Binks.
I
have
hate
no-
Jar Jar Binks.
You hate him? Oh,
Just annoying.
He was fine. He was.
He's an important character though. Like
Yeah.
people don't realize he's the one that basically caused everything. He's the one that handed over the emergency powers to the Chancellor.
Damn, you're kind of right. But
Yeah.
you know what? I just don't hate him. I don't know. He's just
It's just
whatever. He
annoying.
is what he is.
I'm just happy he wasn't like a main character because that would have been like, shut up already. But no, I mean he's chilling.
But anyway, yeah, that scene was really sad. And actually, you know what's really funny about Rogue One is you remember the blind guy in Rogue One? He's like the coolest character.
Oh yeah.
The same actor plays a blind guy in the new John Wick movie. So he's
Oh,
just been
jeez.
pigeonholed.
Oh jeez.
But
He's
he
like,
was
"Yo,
also-
you pulled off that blind.
But he was also the coolest character in John Wick Chapter 4.
I have not seen.
That movie, have you seen any of those movies? Man, you'd like them. They're fun. Shut your brain off. Just watch this dude kill a bunch of people. It's fun.
I'll have them on my list too.
And Keanu Reeves does all the fight scenes himself. He does all that.
Ah.
Which is sick. There's no stunt.
I
man.
like
He does
that.
all
I
the
like
judo. And if he's like 56, I think. I think he did all the fight scenes for the new movie too. And he's moving like he's in his 30s. Like he's in good shape.
Good for him.
Yeah, seriously, he's a badass in real life, because he did all the fight scenes and it was fun. But yeah, the blind guy from Rogue One played the blind guy in John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah, they
Oh,
might
that
have
would
been
be
using that,
fire. No, I'm pretty sure he's not blind in real life. But
Like actual blind people like audition for the role and like, nah, you're better.
no, but that might have happened. You never know. But he was cool. He was like a blind dude, and he was like they were like fighting in this like kitchen area, like a big kitchen for like a restaurant. And these guys were like walking and trying to come get him. And he had these little white rectangles that he would put on the wall. He had a cane, so he would like feel things with the cane, and he would put it on there. And then it was an alarm system, so when they walked over it, it beeped, so he knew where they were, and then he would take them out. And it was
I
kind
like
of cool.
that. I
It
like
was
that.
sick. Yeah, he was cool. And he survived. The spoiler warning for John Wick Chapter 4. I won't tell you anything because you got to watch them because they're actually fun.
No, I won't.
It's the same movie. Full disclosure, it's the same. Have you seen the Jason Bourne movies? Damn. All right, it's the same movie 4 times in a row. The plot does not. It's the same plot.
Okay.
But it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's still fun. I have a friend that hates on John Wick movies, and I don't appreciate it. They're fun.
I don't hate on anything until I've seen it. No, that's a lie. I hate on Harry Potter.
I'm not the average Harry Potter enjoyer either.
No, I'm literally just I just got into Marvel, but Star Wars is like
Yeah,
I
at
will
this
watch
point,
anything. Well, I haven't seen a couple projects yet, but no, Mandalorian like
I read the Harry Potter books, and they're good books. The movies, I don't know. It's just like
Mhm.
there's something about it.
Yeah.
I'm just not really.
yeah.
I'm not into it. It didn't really catch my attention. The Fantastic Beasts movies, like the prequels that they did, the first one was really good, and the second one's okay. And I heard the third one was not that good, and they're planning on making 2 more of those. So, good luck to them.
You hear about
Yeah.
the Star Wars projects coming out?
They're
Uh,
doing like skeleton. What is it called?
there's
Like
the-
Skeleton Crew or something like that.
Yeah, well, there's that show. They have 3 movies.
Yeah, there are 3 movies. Yeah, I've heard. No, this is what I've heard. I've heard that they're redoing 7, 8, 9. They're writing 7, 8, 9 out of the canon and they're redoing them. That's what I was told. This is what I heard.
Well, these 3 movies are all over the place, but maybe
okay,
they have,
gotcha.
because one of them takes place like years after Episode 9, and it's Rey is gonna be in the movie, and she is rebuilding the Jedi Order.
They can't stop making the same story over and over
Yeah.
again, can they?
No.
It's the same
then-
thing. It's the same thing that they did in Episode 6 or
And
whatever.
then one of them is like thousands of years before, like Episode 1,
Whoa.
like about like the first Jedi.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then
like that.
one. Apparently, there's a movie that has to do with like Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and it's like combining all of the storylines together, which they're already doing because they've
They already
all
did
been in
that.
the same show before. But
And they're also doing Knights of the Old Republic, aren't they?
Yep.
Or is that going to be a show?
and
or
then
is that a movie?
Acolyte, Knights of the Old Republic's a show, I think. Acolyte's a show.
I just want movies. I don't want to do
Ahsoka,
TV shows.
Lando. I forgot about Lando.
That's going to be fire. Who's going to play Lando?
Hopefully,
Who's playing
the
Lando?
guy who played it in
Oh, in the younger movie.
Han Solo or Solo.
It's Childish Gambino. It's Donald Glover. That's going to be fire. That's going to be good. I'll watch that. I'll probably watch all of these. I just wish they'd do
Andor
movies
season
'cause
2.
it's much. They're doing
Probably
season 2 of Andor.
Yeah. Probably season 4 of Mandalorian.
They need to stop. They need to stop. They need to be done.
Well, depending on how this ends,
No, I think either way, I'd
which
be okay
it
with
can
them.
end a lot. Well, so here's the conspiracy theory of how it's gonna end.
They're gonna kill him.
No.
Okay.
The episode was called The Spies.
Yeah.
And there's one person that just is a little bit suspicious for me.
Oh, is it the chick in the New Republic with the short hair?
No, it's
She's already been a villain.
it's the armorer.
Ooh.
So it was her idea to gather up all the Mandalorian in one place. And when they get to Mandalore, she's the one to volunteer and say, "Oh, I'll leave and bring everyone back up."
Ooh.
So she's not on the planet when they get captured. And her and Moff Gideon both have horns on their helmets, the spikes. And where did Moff Gideon get the Beskar from? The armor. I mean, the armor.
I think he said they mined it from Mandalore. They mined it.
But the armor is pretty skilled in crafting that stuff. It just doesn't.
I
add
guess, but when would she have? She was never gone.
Up. It just doesn't add up.
That's actually a good point.
yeah.
That's entirely possible that she could be a sneaky little spy.
Because what I was expecting at the end, when she has the refugees on the ship, and it shows them in the clouds, I thought she was when the ship got out of the clouds, like Moff Gideon's fleet was gonna be.
Yeah,
shooting
I
them
thought
up
they were
there.
already going to be getting hit.
But then when they got captured, I was like, they literally like the armor was like, oh, like Bo-Katan, go get all the Mandalorian, let's gather them up and bring them back. And then she was like, oh, I'm a dip. And then they're all
Okay,
captured.
But then also, why did? And I'm also guessing that whenever Moff Gideon broke out of that shuttle and they put the Beskar chunk in the wall, they want the New Republic to think that the Mandalorians busted out Moff Gideon.
Or the armorer busted out Moff Gideon.
Oh, but I feel like she's smart. I feel like she wouldn't leave a chunk of Beskar in the
Yeah,
wall.
maybe.
I feel like she's too smart. I feel like she wouldn't do that.
So
I feel like they.
you
I feel
think
like
it was
they,
a plant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course it was. Yeah, I think that Moff Gideon wants the Mandalorians gone, and he wants to throw the New Republic
True.
off.
No, because at the start of the episode was him saying we need to get rid of them.
We need to get rid of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. That's possible that you're right with the thing, but I also think that
I
that
mean-
they just want the New Republic to get thrown off
Yeah.
their trail, so they're gonna pin the Mandalorians. as,
I'm usually wrong with the theories, but I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about it.
Seen
and
a lot of
it just
TikTok
makes
edits.
sense. Yeah.
okay.
Which I didn't send those to you yet because you are not caught up.
I'm also not on TikTok either. So
So I gotta send you what I got.
you know,
on my
I'll watch them now. Yeah, they're fun. You know, people make those little edits. They're fun. A lot of them are very nostalgic.
Mhm.
But I don't know what's gonna happen. I didn't realize I didn't realize that next week is the last episode.
Yeah. So something
Wow.
big's gotta happen. And they were throwing Thrawn's name out there. They might
Oh
give
yeah.
him a little cameo at the end to lead into the Ahsoka series.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because Ahsoka's happening around this time too.
That's a really good point. Wow.
Like why name drop him and have Moff Gideon like call out like, oh, you've been saying that he's gonna help us out and we haven't seen him in one of these meetings yet. So
he hasn't joined the Zoom call yet. That's really Star Wars version of Zoom.
yeah.
I wonder if they're out here.
Turn your cameras on, everybody.
Do you remember? Do you remember back at the beginning of the pandemic there was that There was that court case on Zoom. The one guy had the cat filter over. The
Oh,
judge
yeah,
had the cat filter. That was one of my favorite things in the early pandemic.
There was a professor that
He
had the
was
like potato filter on.
he was like, I think that was on purpose, but he was like, Judge, I've got a filter on my face here. My assistant's trying to turn it off, and he was a cat.
Oh,
I
jeez.
just kept it.
Oh, boomer.
That's the one thing that I didn't do for anything
put
during
the
school meetings.
backgrounds or the filters on.
Maybe for my next work meeting, I'll put a cat filter on. I'll put the potato filter on.
You
my
should.
face. I would say whenever I was in my physics calls, for my physics class, my teacher would always have the Millennium Falcon cockpit as the background.
Oh,
of the Zoom
nice.
call. So I would always make mine like Minecraft or something. There was always like a Minecraft background, so I would always do that. But wow, we spent almost 25 minutes now talking Star Wars. That's crazy. There's a lot to talk about though.
Alright.
I think Disney's spreading themselves too thin. I think all of the shows and all of the movies, I from what I've heard, they outsource a lot of their CGI to third-party companies. I think it's just too much because Marvel Phase 4 was so bad. Like on the whole, it was not so bad. It was.
I
Just
haven't.
it was 5 out of 10. The whole thing.
Is that what was like Loki and She-Hulk and that, or is that?
Yeah, it was like Loki was.
There was like no in
It-
between.
It was a roller coaster. Yeah, it was like Spider-Man: No Way Home was awesome.
I
Loki
haven't
was
seen.
great.
I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man movies. Any of the new.
You
shows.
would like Loki. Loki's.
Yeah.
You haven't seen any of the new shows.
I haven't seen
Okay.
Loki, WandaVision.
I've heard that
Winter Soldier,
WandaVision-
whatever.
I've heard that WandaVision's good. Huh? I've heard the WandaVision's okay. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was like, it started off really bad, and then I thought it got good at the end. It made Falcon into a lot cooler of a character. I like him a lot more now.
I heard Moonlight was good.
I didn't get through Moon Knight. I couldn't get through it. I
heard She-Hulk was awful.
I heard that it was like I heard that it wasn't good, but I'm wondering if it got, in hindsight, it got more hate than it deserved. Just bad.
Well, isn't there a scene of like Cardi B twerking with She-Hulk? Like that's like the whole Lizzo and Mandalorian thing. Like they're just throwing in these cameos, thinking everyone's gonna hype it up, and then it's like, why is this? This isn't Marvel. This isn't Star Wars.
There's a right way to do it.
Or like in an end credit scene, just be funny. But this shouldn't be in the storyline.
Not gonna lie, that would be a funny end credit scene.
Yeah.
So just
but
something
why is it
random
like in
that.
the episode?
Yeah, I don't know. But like all washed. Like
Yeah.
there are a couple that are good. Loki was actually really good. I did like Loki a lot.
Do you think it's because it's Disney? Because I mean, look at DC. I've heard that they're doing pretty good with all of their projects.
I don't. Black Adam bombed.
Yeah, that. Well, I mean, yeah.
The only good.
Yeah.
Mhm. The only good things that I've seen from DC were the Nolan Batman trilogy and the Batman. And Joker was also very good.
I love Joker, and they're
Joker
filming
was
Joker 2 now.
And it's going to be a musical.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And
Which I'm
Lady
open.
Gaga's
I'm
playing
open. I'm
Harley
open to
Quinn?
that. I'm fully open. To
Yeah.
that. That's going to be cool.
Is it still who's playing Joker?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, same. Okay.
Yeah, same guy. Yep. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for
It's
for
gonna
them
be
to
a Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga shallow moment in
make
in Joker 2.
Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga twerking in the new musical.
Oh,
I would
Oh.
leave the theater.
Well,
I
it's a
would leave.
musical, so that at least makes a little bit of sense.
Right.
But
It could be one of the dance moves in there.
not She-Hulk and the lawyer.
and the
Cardi
law-
B and a She-Hulk lawyer or whatever, just twerking in the office.
And they're also making the Batman into a trilogy, which I'm excited. Did you see the Batman? Dude, you gotta watch.
That's
that
also
one.
on my list. I heard that was really good.
It was very good. I thought it was fun. It was very like film noir. It was very dark. It
Yeah.
was cool. I liked it, and I thought that all the actors killed it. Everyone did good in that movie. But no, I don't know. Other than that, DC's kind of washed to me. Marvel's kind of washed too. They lost me. I'm not really as excited as I used to be.
It's just so like I was-
Guardians Volume 3 is gonna be good.
Yeah. I was telling all my friends this. Like, Marvel's just pushing too much content back to back. Like, there's like
Yeah.
a movie and a show running at the there's always a show, and as soon as that ends, another one starts, and in between the shows, there's a movie and a movie.
I'm telling
Like
you that.
Star
there's-
Wars, we gotta wait like a year for the next show to come out,
Yeah, that's what.
which I think is what
they-
makes it a little bit more hype and enjoyable. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's been a while. This is like, oh, Loki's still going, but the next show's starting like next week. Get ready, and it's
Mhm.
just too much content.
I hope that they learned. I hope that they learned from Phase 4, just understanding that they just I get it. They got to make money. I feel like they were making a shit ton of money before, though. But they just have to learn. They just have to stop. They have to
Well,
stop.
like you look at
Just
like
slow
things
down.
like Infinity War and Endgame, and those are really
Dude,
good movies.
Dude, I remember the Endgame, the Infinity War trailer drop. We had to wait like 9 months still before that movie came out. And that was, I think that's still to this day probably my favorite MCU movie.
And then you have the stuff that's coming out now, compared to a couple. Well, not a couple. Maybe like what was that? 6 years ago, maybe.
Infinity War was 2018. God, that's nuts. 5 years ago. That's crazy. That movie's been out for 5 years.
And
Or did it come out?
And
or,
how much more content's been released since then?
or was it like the trailer was in 2018 and Infinity War was 2019?
I'm not sure.
No, because I think Endgame came out in 2020.
No, because I saw Endgame when I was in high school,
Shit.
and I graduated 2019.
But Infinity War wasn't in 2017. I know that for a
I don't know.
fact.
It could be.
I gotta look this
I
up.
mean, Force Awakens was 2015.
That's crazy too,
Yeah.
dude. Infinity War was 2018.
That's eight.
Okay.
What was that, 8 years ago? Oh my god.
My
Oh
God,
my
dude,
God.
we're old. We're old. Okay, yeah. So Infinity War was 2018. Endgame was 2019, and then Captain Marvel was the only movie in between. That was back. That was
I
that,
liked
that was
Captain Marvel.
really.
That's not like an amazing. Like it wasn't like oh my gosh, but
But it got.
It was
I think.
cool.
I think it got
was
more
nice.
hate than it deserved. In
yeah,
many
no, for
ways.
sure.
I think it did.
It's
It
not like
wasn't-
it's not like a top 5 Marvel movie
No,
for
no,
me,
no.
but it was good. I liked it.
But
It was enjoyable. I wasn't sitting in the theater like hurry up.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I thought, but other than that, yeah, of all the newer stuff they've done, man, Spider-Man
have-
No Way Home was legitimately a
I
very
haven't
good film.
seen- And I mean, of course, I've gotten the spoilers for that movie, so it's not.
No.
I mean, you.
It's
you,
inevitable.
You
at this
can't
point.
avoid that.
No, you can't. And then I saw Ant-Man. The new Ant-Man movie was like,
That's out. Really? When was that released? Recently.
yeah, 5 out of 10.
I was going to. The only reason I wanted to watch it was because they used "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road." in the
Dude,
trailer-
the music was good.
in the trailer.
Yep,
Marvel's good with the music.
music. Oh yeah,
I'll
they
give them that.
They are. No, it was such 5 out of 10. You know what it was? It was like, listen, this is actually a really great. Wow, we're really good at segueing between Star Wars and politics. Somehow
Yeah,
we're
we
really
are.
good at this. I don't know how, but it's like I honestly don't mind social messaging in movies. I really don't. It's how you do it for me. It's you have to make it a part of the story, and you have to make like there has to be a reason for it. And it just felt like Ant-Man 3 was lazy social justice commentary.
Well,
And it didn't really have it had a little bit of a point in the story, but even that felt forced. Like all of it felt like they had to put it in there and I just felt like it just felt lazy. It felt lazy. And also for Disney, because I know the executives are I can't keep doing that bit. It's gonna get old. If they want to make MODOK, funniest villain of all time. Absolutely, genuinely funny. I was laughing out loud in the theater anytime MODOK was on screen. I was laughing. Hilarious. Unintentionally, though. Not trying to be, but he was
Yeah.
so funny.
you know what a good example of the like throwing in the social justice stuff, not for the story.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen The Boys?
I have not seen The Boys, no.
I liked it. It was good, but there was a random episode where there was just like a Black Lives Matter protest. Nothing to do with the story.
Mm. Well, yeah, and I get it. Like, it's a self-preservation thing. That's what I've like
Well,
over the last year or
just feel
so
like
found out
these
that
companies feel like they have to do that or else.
I that's what I used to believe, but then I was listening to funny enough, I was listening to Andrew Schultz's podcast, which you watched his most recent special, Infamous.
Hilarious.
Funny
I
as
was
hell.
dying.
Dude, that special, he's great. But he was because
He's good. He's good because he roasts both sides.
Yeah, he roasts everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah.
Nobody's safe. But he was because he's been doing a couple of movies in Hollywood recently, and he was like, I learned that there's not some room of people that coordinate what the social messaging is in Hollywood. It's more of like a self-preservation thing. It's like, I don't want to be seen as the person that's not down with the cause, so I'm going to put this stuff in my movies. It's not this like shadowy cabal of people in Hollywood being like, all right, all the movies this year are about this thing. It's like, it's not like that. It's just that everyone is afraid of, and that's true. I mean, they might feel like they're forced to. That's also entirely possible.
Which is why they don't incorporate it in the story, because they're like.
Okay, so then what's a good movie that we would both consider that was good, where they did a good example of like social messaging?
trying to think of what's come out recently.
or just anything in general, like any
Okay, well,
movie.
here's I have a TV show,
Okay.
Grey's Anatomy. During the whole COVID thing,
In
they
a way,
literally
you watch Grey's Anatomy.
I do watch Grey's.
This guy,
Not anymore.
This guy is a
Not
riddle.
anymore. Not
This
anymore.
guy's a riddle. I can't figure you out
Not
every
anymore.
single time.
My job,
this
it's
guy-
a very diverse.
This guy loves Star Wars and Grey's Anatomy.
But
Anyway.
no, like during the whole COVID thing, it was like they incorporated Black Lives Matter and COVID-19 protocols in the hospital, but that was because that was all going on at that time.
Right. So they
So that was
fit
like
it in there
it was like
properly.
relatable to the audience, and it was cool. Like obviously it's a fictional show, but it was cool to see like the protocols and the ER and
Mhm.
like how things changed compared to like pre-COVID.
Oh, that's cool. So you could actually see a difference in the
Yeah.
procedure.
Oh yeah, no, like they
that's
they
cool.
all had like
Yeah.
like
N95.
yeah, the masks on and social distancing, and the ER rooms they had to shut some of them down. So
Okay, that's cool. I can appreciate that.
but like if
That's
if that came out like this year, I'd be like, come on, it's over with. But it was during COVID, so
Right.
they incorporated that
That's
into
cool.
the show to yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the early Disney movies were good about doing a little bit of social messaging without making it forced. Like I think The Lion King is a great example.
Oh,
of
yeah.
that. Beauty and the Beast is a great example. Like they put social messaging into the movies, but it was so deep in the story that you didn't really see it. It's just
It's
there.
just
Like,
there,
you notice it
yeah.
in the fact, but
It
it's
doesn't
not really,
add or take any. I mean, yeah.
It does add to the
Well,
story.
I mean,
but it's
like
not like a
a
force.
segue back to Star Wars. The last movie, there's a lesbian kiss at the end, and it's like they just threw that
Wait,
in
at,
there
at
to
the end
be,
of which movie?
Rise of Skywalker
There is?
when they're celebrating.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, see,
that part
you
I'm
didn't
like
even
not
know.
as
You
not
didn't
as
even know.
I didn't even notice. Not as bothered about that.
I know. I mean, I'm not bothered, but it just shows that they're just throwing it in to say that they're inclusive or whatever, but it has nothing to do with the story. Like, just commit to like a character.
But do you think if it's like two side characters and they just wanted to, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. And it's more in the background. It's not like heavily.
Yeah, no, but like what I'm saying is they just threw it in there just to be like, oh look, there's a lesbians are in Star Wars or.
I would say that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not as I see where you're coming from, but I'm not as bothered by that person.
I know. I mean, I'm not bothered. I just think that they should have maybe, like, not like forced
Would you
like this
prefer it-
relationship
would
on
you-
everybody, but
Would
maybe.
you prefer it if it was like two main characters and that was a thing and they made them like good likable characters and then they kissed at the end?
Yeah, but not like we would have had to known that they were attracted to each other before. Like I didn't want like okay, these are I'm literally I'm pulling this out of my ass right now, but like if Rey and Leia like at the last episode, like at the end just like
that age
started
gap
like
is crazy.
kissing. Okay, I'm just picking out two main characters. Like if they just kiss out of nowhere, I'd be like, what the hell? But if they like were showing like interest into each other, then did it, that would be like, oh cool, that was a nice.
That was my
relationship
problem with her
build-up.
kissing Kylo Ren is like these two people aren't attracted to each other. What
No,
the
not
hell
yet.
is this?
I
Like-
mean,
I have,
that was weird too.
I have a bigger problem with that than two side. Like, I don't care about these two side characters. If it was like a guy and a girl side character kissing, I wouldn't care.
No, like,
But like,
I don't care, but like from like me looking at like why Disney did it, it was like, oh, people don't really care about these characters. Let's just throw it in, and we can say that we did that.
right. But would it then it would be the same as just a male and a female character kissing each other?
Yeah, but I mean, just looking at the like we were talking about the like social, just trying to be more
Yes,
open and
that's more
inclusive, or
like not really meant to be focused on.
yeah, which I
Being like, hey, look, it's two people.
yeah, if it was in the background, that part I can kind of like, we can, you
yeah,
know.
but I
But-
got I wrote an opinions piece about the last Star Wars movie, and I got a strike from the Globe for writing that piece because I made people feel uncomfortable in the office.
What'd you say?
I basically just said what we said, which wasn't even the whole
Oh,
which wasn't
okay.
even the whole point
The
of
movie
the
s-
article.
the
I
movie
just
sucked to
No, it
begin
was
with.
awful. Yeah,
Sucked.
movie.
It's so bad. All right. There are a couple of things that I want to talk about. I don't really have like I have questions, but they're not going to be like super structured and serious. This is something that I want to talk to you about that we had this conversation a couple months ago, like previously. What a harsh segue. That's fine. I don't care. So this is something that I want to talk to you about. So and I don't want to misquote you here. So I'm going to paraphrase this and make sure that I'm getting this right. We had talked about back before the midterms. I forget how this conversation came up, but I asked you what your thought was about reducing political polarization in this country. What a segue. This is crazy. And you had said to me that your solution was that the red wave would be sort of a downslope in polarization because more people voted red.
Wait, that the red wave
would reduce polarization because more people voted Republican.
Oh, I don't remember saying that.
Okay, but I was curious if you still kind of feel that way.
I mean, it makes sense in a way, like just showing that maybe more people do think this way. Maybe people are more open-minded to the right, or
because I'll be completely honest, from my perspective, like I understand where you're coming from with that. And again, that could be misquoting. I'm not saying that you said that verbatim, but like
I didn't
just
say it
remember,
on your podcast.
No, but
Okay,
we were
okay,
texting.
Okay.
We were texting, and you would have been like, okay, well, I and again, I could scroll all the way back and find it, but I'd be scrolling back.
Yeah, no.
I just remember that was, and I don't. Maybe you didn't pitch it as like a full solution, but you were like, okay, well, like the red wave is going to help at least.
Oh no, I don't think there'll be a full solution. I don't think there is a full solution really.
Okay,
I think it's a whole bunch of tiny aspects that will kind of build up on each other.
Because from my perspective, and I understand where you're coming from with that, but from my perspective, that actually doesn't really make any sense. Because even if people feel like the Republicans are representing them better than the Democrats in the midterms, like let's say it went the other way and the red wave did happen, those people aren't necessarily conservative. They're just voting Republican because they feel like it represents them better, or the other side is crazy, or Republicans financially better for them.
That would just be the political divide, Democrat versus Republican. Not ideology, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Then from that perspective, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, but when you first told me that, I was like, Logan, I gotta talk to you about this.
No, I mean, there are liberal Republicans and conservative Democrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's something that a lot of people don't really understand.
No.
And I've been trying to separate that language in my head.
You can be liberal and not think that the Democratic Party represents you.
And same way
the other way
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually cool. I like that you said that. Okay, so then.
Glad we.
Okay, well then maybe I want to stay on this topic for a little bit. So you were saying like that's a potential sort of fix.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a direct fix; it'd be indirect, because I just think it opens people's eyes more. Like, oh, I hear all these bad things about this side of the political aisle, and they turned out numbers, and there's a lot more than I thought, and maybe not all of them are as bad. Because obviously, like we talked about generalization and stuff. So if you see a group that you have heard bad things about, and then you see that they're a little bit bigger than you thought, then you're like, oh, well, maybe they see something that I'm not seeing, or something like that. So, yeah, like I said, it would have been more of an indirect thing.
Okay,
an indirect fix.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't necessarily disagree with that. That's not necessarily that's a difference in focus. I think you focus more on like the actual political side of things, like in DC with elected officials. I like to focus more on like the people type thing.
No, I mean, like even from the people's perspective,
I guess, but I do think that a lot of people are trapped in like the lesser of two evils type thing.
Oh, 100%,
and even though they don't necessarily, maybe they don't want to vote Republican, but they're like, I gotta in this, like I feel like I have to because the other side is so crazy, or this and that and the other.
I feel like that's really rare. That's a rare voter.
I don't know.
Segment.
I don't know. I talked to my.
I talked to so many people who are like, no, I would never vote the other way.
That's interesting because I've talked to some people that felt like in 2020 or in 2016, like they didn't like Hillary, but they disliked Trump so much that they had to vote for Hillary. So I have heard, it's not a lot of people, I will admit.
Yeah.
But I have heard some people at least say that like in 2020, like I didn't really like Biden, but he's better than Trump, so I got to vote for Biden type thing. Well, a lot of people aren't voting third party.
I hate to throw my mom under the bus here, but she has told me that she's voted Democrat for a long time. I believe she voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and then 2020 she voted for Trump. So
okay,
I mean there's definitely chance for you to. I mean, if you're voting against Trump one year and for him the other,
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying it's a good sign because I'm happy that she voted that
Right.
way, but it's a good sign that people are open-minded and can realize.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so I mean it's possible, and that's why I was saying earlier, like, oh, if more people shifted red
Yeah.
compared to the last election or the last voting cycle, than others who may be in the middle or may feel forced that they have to vote one way.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's referencing the Democratic Party, but they'd be like, oh, well, more people are opening their eyes. Maybe I need to look into something more. Which obviously is indirect. I'm not being like, oh, if a red wave happened, there would be no more political divide. But
yeah, I don't think that's
I
what
think
you
it would
said.
start a shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. Okay, so then in the ideal world, what is the place for the liberal or progressive perspective in an ideal world?
In the trash can. No, just kidding. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's good for there to be only one viewpoint being represented. I mean, you're never going to have like 100% control over something. Even if you look at some of the states that are like really, really red, state senators are all red, but then you have a blue governor. So there's always going to be compromise. So I was actually at a college Republicans meeting the other day, and they were talking about, like, how do we win the next election? Like, how do we do this? And they're like, maybe we do need to compromise with the left to make things happen. And we were specifically talking about abortion.
Okay.
And we got into, like, it was college Republicans at Pitt, and we were all, like, arguing with each other. Like, some people were like, no, I'd rather lose elections and have Roe v. Wade overturned. Like, this is a win. I don't care. Other people are like, no, we lost that election because Roe v. Wade was overturned. I think maybe we should give the left the one-term abortion thing. And other people are like, no, that's messed up. Like, this is a huge win. We shouldn't just give up our morals for support votes. So,
and that's really interesting. Do you think there's a situation in which yourself and other conservatives, because I do think it's possible to reach a point of understanding and find common ground without sacrificing your position.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that.
On the topic of abortion, no. I don't think that
Okay.
compromise should happen there. Something like gun control, I'm all in favor for increased background checks.
Okay.
Making it more difficult. Do I think that we should ban them? No. But if that's just a little bit of compromise we can make to find some common ground and express both viewpoints on the issue, sure. But
so
no,
you'd be willing to sit down with progressives and work out a solution for increased background checks?
No, for sure.
Okay.
No, but the topic of abortion, I'm not really.
So you wouldn't.
I don't think it's, and I do think the topic of abortion was what brought people out to vote in 2022.
I agree.
But that's just a topic that I don't want to let my morals go just for a few extra votes. I don't think that that's ethical.
I respect that. Okay, so then, because I did see a study that the majority of Americans agreed with, like, that one-term thing, or that, like, before. I'm gonna fuck this up because I forget the terms. It was like after the third trimester it's illegal, or after the second trimester it's illegal, or it's like some number of weeks, and like the majority of Americans
agree that should be
that should be a thing.
Which I don't agree with it, but if that's something that compromise were to happen on, you have people on the right who look at it as, okay, we got rid of a lot of abortion. And then people on the left are like, okay, a little bit of restriction, but it's still an option, which is what we've been fighting for.
Right.
I mean, obviously you're going to have the radical left who is like, no, I want to be able to abort my child the day before birth.
I don't actually think, I don't. Here's the thing. I have not met one of those
It doesn't
people.
happen. It doesn't happen often. It's very, 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 very rare. But I'm saying there are people who are going to see that as a loss and think that their rights are under attack and are not going to be happy with that.
And there are also people on the right that would say, well, that's not enough.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Me included. Yeah, I just said I don't think it's. And someone in the meeting was like, no, like, we need to focus on the votes. Like, give them that. And I'm just like, no, like,
I don't like that.
We might have lost some seats in the election and the red wave didn't happen, but overturning Roe v. Wade was a huge step for this movement, and I don't think that we should give that up just to have Dr. Oz instead of Fetterman or whatever.
Right. Okay, so then that's another thing. That was a follow-up question that I had. Is like, what's the amount of push and pull in your eyes, ideally? Because you're a conservative-minded person. My understanding of conservative-minded people, because I am one a little bit, is that change is not bad, but change too fast
Oh,
can
for
be
sure,
bad.
yeah.
That's like, it's not that innovation is bad. Innovation's good. But I think, and actually, it's interesting. I think like AI is one area where conservatives are like, this is too fast. Like AI is, I don't think that really, on paper, I think you're going to find people that have problems with AI. But I think on the whole, a lot of people could at least come to the understanding that there are a lot of benefits that it can bring us. But if you implement it too quickly, not a good thing.
Well, can I go back to the abortion topic for that?
Sure, of
I
course.
mean, overturning Roe v. Wade was like huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had people on the right who were like celebrating, like, oh my gosh, this is like crazy.
Yep.
All my friends, I sadly didn't get to go, but all my friends went to D.C. right outside the Supreme Court building to celebrate. Then you have everyone on the left who's like, oh gosh, we got to protest this. Like this is extreme, too fast. You know, protesting in the streets. And then like right away, like as soon as that was implemented, you had some of the trigger laws go into effect right away into the states. So
like immediately, it was
yeah.
like immediate.
Yeah, so that's I would assume that that's an example of the change you were talking about. Like that was like fast. Everything was happening at once. And now, I mean, I supported it, and I think that a lot of good has come from that. Like I think that I read that like 60,000 lives were saved. Well, you know, 60,000, I guess, extra births or however you want to say that since that. So for me, that's a win. But, I mean, then you look at the left's perspective on abortion, or I guess not the left's. I'll just say pro-choice because there's probably people on the right who are pro-choice too. But they're like, oh, gosh, this is, like, too much.
Yeah. Well, and that's, like, whenever I'm in these circles of more left-leaning people and I try to argue for conservatives, that's the biggest thing I bring up is, like, we have to understand that at a almost like at a psychological level, there is a split in the road. Like, left-leaning people are okay with change really fast if it is bringing up people on the bottom, and conservatives, that is like all the alarms go off when the changes start happening too fast. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's how people are. Like that's just, we can't change that. So we just have to learn to work around that. Like you just have to learn that, yeah, if you're dealing with conservative folks, you have to give and take a little bit, and so are they. So
no, but that's what you also have to look at it. Like, if the change that's happening fast benefits you, like, you're gonna more be likely to support it.
Sure, because the Roe v. Wade thing was a very fast change, but a lot of
But
conservatives
for
are
someone
okay with
who's
that.
pro-life, I was like, oh, this is not bad. But
Right, so it's
if
not
there
with
were to
everybody.
be, if there was to be like, I'm just trying to think of like.
But you know, AI
okay,
is a problem.
okay, so like, yeah, AI too. But like from the left's perspective, if they banned guns in America,
All of
they'd
them,
be
somehow.
crazy celebrating, which is a big change. And then our side would be like, oh gosh, this is
Too
a
much
little
of a
bit,
change.
yeah.
Yeah, I think when you go to the extremes of banning, something, that mindset actually goes away because it's not a really fast change. It's like it was abrupt. There's no movement,
Yeah.
right? So maybe whenever you go as far as like an extreme ban, maybe that sort of mindset goes away, which kind of makes sense. But like, you know, AI is a problem or AI is a thing that could benefit everybody.
Yeah.
Could benefit you. It could benefit all of us. But if it happens too quick, that's where the conservative part of my brain kicks in. Because I look at the AI stuff and I just think we're doing it too fast. We're running into. And again, I'm not an expert. I get it, folks. I'm not an expert on AI or really on anything. It just seems like it's too quick.
Yeah.
Seems too fast. So then, what do you think is that? I don't know. Do you think is there any sort of system that we could adopt? Well, I guess this is coming from your perspective. For like, what is that? What is the rate of change? You know, I was talking to my friend Claire, and she was almost saying that, like, in a way, like the progressives are almost like the delivery man with the new ideas, and the conservatives are almost like the guy at the door. And a lot of times, like, so where's the balance? Like, how does society move forward if
I'm not
there's
even
that?
sure. I mean, I don't know, because I'm gonna say one thing, but then contradict myself. I don't know. I mean, like we said, maybe just giving and taking a little bit and compromising, and then once that starts to open up the eyes of people, maybe we can expedite that change a little bit faster as people kind of settle in. But then there are topics that I don't think should be going, like the abortion thing. Like I thought that was a huge win. And if we started that off like, okay, Roe v. Wade's still okay, but we're gonna limit it to second trimester only, and then first, it's like, yeah, but it's still happening at a pretty high rate.
Right, but would you? Okay, and so then that's a position where you're not willing to budge.
I mean, as of now, no.
Okay, and
I'm definitely open to having my mind changed on that, but as of now, just the way I look at it, like I don't think that, because for me, it's like morally wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't think that going against my value system just to, and it sounds selfish, I know.
No, but I don't think so, because listen, and this is the one thing that drives me fucking crazy about the left is that they say that the right is they're doing this to control women's bodies, and it's just the most ignorant argument I've ever heard, because it's not. People on the right, and myself included, even though the abortion thing is like, I don't know where to put myself. I just genuinely don't. And maybe we could talk about that, but like they see it as murder, like it's murder to them, and you're taking away human life, so of course they're gonna try to stop it. Like, and it makes sense.
People on the left recognize that too.
Yeah,
I've seen so many videos of like, oh, is it a living being? Yes. So you're killing someone? Yes, I am, but I should have the right to do that. It's like, did you just hear yourself?
Yeah, and you know what? And that's and that's where a lot of them land. And to be honest, I don't know if that's where I land. I'm not okay with it. I do think it's murder. I'm curious though. Like, here's what I'm thinking about. If you ban the guns, it doesn't get rid of the guns.
No.
People are still going to find a way to get them. If you ban abortion, people are still going to have abortions, and they're going to happen in these underground clinics where the medical procedures are perhaps not as safe. So that's why I don't know where to put myself, because I agree with conservatives. Yeah, I think it's murder. I do think in many ways that it's morally wrong. At the same time, the libertarian in me is like, if you ban it, does that give the government power to ban other stuff? Because they're not just going to stop at abortion, or they're not just going to stop at guns. And then, so it's tough. So I don't know. That one's tough. And that one's probably where the common ground thing, it's going to be really tough.
No,
it might never happen, but
I think abortion's the one thing that budging is going to be very difficult.
I think if we can just understand each other's perspectives, though.
No, I mean,
that's at least a lot more valuable.
I don't know if I've told you this. I was pro-choice, like very pro-choice, like beginning of high school.
I was too.
And then I started to do more research. I saw images of what abortions look like. It kind of hit me. And then I got to the point where, I mean, I budged a little bit. I was like, okay, maybe if we limited it this trimester, that trimester, back. Then I was like, no, only rape and incest. And if the mother's life is in danger, should it happen? And then I looked at the rape and incest, like, well, why are you like, obviously that's horrible, but why are you taking that out on the innocent party in that interaction? And then I was like, only if the mother's life is at risk. But apparently one of my friends who's done a lot of research into this said that that's not even considered an abortion. It's like a different procedure. Like, they don't count that.
Oh, interesting.
So now I'm just like, no.
So if a mother was about to have a child and it was endangering her life,
like, that's like the doctor's decision, and that's like a different procedure.
So that you don't consider that an abortion.
I mean, it could be. I don't know, but from what she said, and you
are okay with that then. Like, if the mother's life is going to be in danger.
No, 100%.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I would still consider that an abortion, but yeah. So that's one that's tough, and that's one, like, I think that was at the Bridge Summit when we did Bridge the Gap, which is an event that is really popular. I think Arizona State invented it, and then now everyone does it. It's just to explain it briefly, it's like you have 10 round tables, 10 topics. The tables are split into 2 sets of 5 seats. Everyone sits down. You talk about the topic for 15 minutes. At the end of the 15, one set of 5 rotates to this table. This set of 5 rotates to the other table.
Okay.
And so you're constantly at a new table with new folks talking about new things, and it's cool. And yeah, there was a little bit of common ground that was found at that table. I think I was at that table. I don't actually remember now. But that one's tough, yeah, because the people feel very strongly about that. And that one's, like, are we going to find common ground? I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, it's just because both sides are so extreme. Like, you have one side that's like, that's murder, and the other's like, you're trying to control me. So how do you find?
And it's
common ground with
interesting
that?
because they're not even arguing for the same things.
No,
Because if the
it's
argument
different.
was purely on are you trying to control women's bodies, conservatives are going to say
No.
no. And liberals are going to say, well, we don't want you to. And the conservatives are going to say, neither do we. But we're not focused on the women's bodies. We're focused on this other thing. And so that's also the one thing that drives me crazy is like we're not even arguing from the same
Yeah.
starting points. And then we're wondering why we get so pissed off at each other. It's like, because you're not even arguing for the same
Well,
thing anymore.
that's why like a lot of pro-life activists I keep up with on social media, the way that they try to find common ground is not about the like should it be illegal, legal. It's where does life begin? Because that's when if you can find
yeah.
common ground there, then you maybe open their eyes of well, if they do believe that life begins at conception, which I think it's like 96% of scientists agree with that. If life begins at conception and you can recognize that, then maybe you'd be like, oh, that is an individual life.
Or at least to understand why they think it is.
Yeah.
Even if that's
Even if that's the only common ground you can get, progress.
that's
is
so
made.
valuable
Yeah.
because then you stop looking at those people as you're trying to control my body. You go, okay, from their perspective, they look at that thing. I'm just gonna say that. I think it's a life, but again, I
Yeah.
try to what's happening? What happened? This cuts every 30 minutes. Where's the other camera? Not here. Dog, that cuts every 30 minutes? Did we lose anything? Okay. New camera. Anyway, should we carry on? Okay, we'll carry on. Yeah, well, that's interesting. And I think that's a lot of where our problems come from is we just don't understand the starting points. I think is like a big thing.
And then you even look at gun control.
Mhm.
To me, it's a constitutional right. I think that law-abiding citizens should be able to protect themselves. The other side thinks that we support school shootings and think that people should just get shot up.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody actually supports that.
No.
Okay, so then, well, that's interesting because here's the one thing that I do see. I guess if I had one criticism of the political right, and again, I kind of agree with them, and this is something I still think. I do see a lot of rhetoric coming out from the left is like, you guys don't care, you don't care how many kids have to die, this kind of thing, that kind of thing. And I get where they're coming from because there's too many people that have died of school shootings. Like, it's too many.
Mhm.
I'll say that.
And I hope everyone agrees with that.
Yeah, I would hope so too, and I think that everybody would. And then I do see the whole like thoughts and prayers thing from the right, which again I get where it comes from. I understand why they're saying that, and I think that most of the time it comes from a genuine place. I think sometimes they just throw it out there because that's the answer that they got to give. But I do think like I get that the right doesn't want the guns taken away, and I don't want them taken away either. But I do think they're just not budging at all. And I think that at this point,
Well,
got to sit down
I
and
think
have
the
some
issue. I
conversation.
think the issue was with that, and this is why I'm really annoyed. Is schools are gun-free zones, so you're just proving that if you do take them away from an area and prohibit them, that bad people can get in and take advantage of that, and do these awful things.
Are schools gun-free zones?
I mean, I would assume that most of them are. I know a lot of schools have metal detectors and
Yeah,
this
my
and
school
that,
did, but I think there were police officers that
I don't think
were around. At
I
my
don't think the
school.
officers in my school carried guns.
Maybe the ones at my school didn't either. I honestly don't remember. What were you gonna say, Gavin?
I think that might be an exception. Like officers trained on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But like
yeah.
teachers, like unless there's the school that implemented teachers are allowed to carry, but like I don't think students can't be carrying them around in their like if a student was caught with a gun in their backpack in their locker, like no
Expelled.
intentions to use it, like, you would be in so much trouble.
Expelled. I mean,
That would probably be a crime.
Yeah.
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 Oh well, it would, if a high school student has a firearm on them, but
and I think I saw data that I don't remember. I say I can't be doing this. I can't be pulling up studies because I don't honestly remember any of them that I've seen. But yeah, I just feel like, and again, I'm not asking anybody to sacrifice their positions, but I just think that nobody's budging on that particular
yeah.
topic.
I mean, the only budging I'll do with that is the background checks.
What are red flag laws? I don't even know
I
what a red
don't
flag
understand
law
them
is.
too well.
And I think that like apparently they were like being removed or something. I don't even know.
I did.
I can't get
I
into
did
all
see
this.
that in the headline, but
I can't get into all this.
no, I
you
mean
know.
just on the school thing again. Like, our politicians get security, our celebrities get security.
Yeah.
That's all okay. Why aren't the kids being protected with armed?
I think the
police
argument that
officers
the
in the
left
school?
is making is like it's the access to guns that I don't. So here's the thing. And again, I would love somebody left-leaning person. I've honestly considered for episodes like this getting a co-host, like from the other perspective to come in.
So both of them can.
Yeah, but then it's like, but I would rather like a one-on-one. I think is a little bit better. I like them more. But so I don't know if the left necessarily has a problem with like protecting the schools with guns as much as they're just making the argument of the fact that it's from their perspective, it's so easy to get one, and there are so many of them that, yeah, eventually they're gonna fall into the hands of the wrong people, and then they're gonna go do bad things with them. Again, that might actually be a starting point issue. Again.
But like taking that into consideration with how many firearms there are, like if you take them away from law-abiding citizens, then it's just bad people getting their hands on them.
Well, that's true, but then again, I don't know. I don't honestly. I see a lot of people on the left. I don't think a lot of them are actually making the argument that we should ban the guns. It's a lot of like restrictions and background checks and stuff to make it harder.
We definitely
to
talk to different people because all I see is ban, ban, ban.
Oh yeah, and that's why I think that's like that's what I'm saying. I think you honestly, I'm just gonna be honest with you because you're my friend. You gotta get off those social media spots. I don't know where you are.
No,
I'm guilty of this too.
No, I've heard from friends. I've heard from protesters. Obviously, a lot of it is on social media, but I'm not like searching up. I don't look up like liberals wanting to ban guns. But
yeah, no, I know you're not doing
yeah.
that. Protesters are that's gonna draw a little more of
Yeah.
an extreme crowd as well. Yeah, no, I don't honestly. I don't. I mean, we have a buddy that self-identifies as a communist, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to ban guns. We've just got to restrict them more. Make it a little bit more difficult for bad people to get their hands on them.
Yeah.
Which, you know,
Which
I think that's I think that's fair.
I agree with. Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that again, a lot of it's a slippery slope. All right, you got a picture with Candace Owens and with Charlie
did.
Kirk.
That was fun.
Are there? So this is what I'm curious about. Are there any of these people that you have big disagreements on certain topics? Or what are they? You know, what are some of them?
What the disagreements?
Like, I don't know. Like, is there any policy, anything these people have said? Is there any sort of rhetoric stuff that you just don't like or you disagree with them? Any of them?
Not really. I mean, I really do. Like, Candace Owens is probably one of my favorite conservative. I don't know if you want to use activist, influencer.
Talking head pundit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I really respect her. The whole like Brexit thing. Like your skin color does not determine what party you have to be with. And I think she's opened a lot of minds with that. And I really do respect her for that. I think it takes a lot of courage to kind of step out and be the one to start that movement. I don't really follow Charlie, like his specific podcast or anything too much.
What about people from the Daily Wire?
Michael Knowles I like a lot. Matt Walsh I like a lot. I think I think they are really interesting because they make pretty valid arguments just by asking simple questions. Like, what is a woman? When does life begin? Stuff like that. Ben Shapiro I kind of just like for the memes.
Yeah. And for him playing Minecraft.
Yeah, with Biden and Trump.
No. He actually played Minecraft.
Oh, did he?
You see that his producers actually got him to play Minecraft. It was really funny.
I thought you were talking about the
AI
thread, the AI.
Yeah, we'll get to that's on my list of topics later. Okay. I was just curious if there was anything these people were saying that you disagreed with.
I mean, as of now, no. But if something comes up, I mean, I'm sure there is, but nothing comes to mind. No, I'm not like a blindly follower, and I don't wake up and listen to their podcasts and take notes and be like, oh, I have to think this. But as of now, nothing comes up.
Okay, because I used to be a fan of a lot of those people, and I'm not as much anymore. But mainly just because I think it's a difference in approach. What is it? And I'm curious what you think about this. The Bridge CEO calls a lot of those people conflict entrepreneurs.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, there are people from both sides who want to rile people up to get the views and to get the speaking engagements and stuff. I mean, how do you think Michael Knowles is so popular?
Yeah, I used to be a fan of Matt Walsh a lot, actually, because I was a lot more conservative back then. I agreed a lot more than what I said. He's funny. He's very dry and sarcastic, and I appreciated that approach. And also just like the way that they structure the way they structured his content was really enjoyable, and it was easy to watch. And now he's just mean. Now he's just mean
Do you
to
think
everybody.
so?
Yeah, now he's just mean.
I think the opposite. I think
He's
he's been doing
mean.
a lot of really cool stuff with the documentaries. I think he's taking it a little bit more seriously.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that fully. I think he's just being mean to people on social media now. I just see him
Yeah.
like saying stuff about people.
I mean,
Like, listen,
if you want likes, if you want followers,
That's-
you gotta put yourself out there.
No
And,
matter-
and I'm guilty of that. We've discussed this off air, but no, I mean, when I'm ever engaging with people, like just the other day, Turning Point at Pitt did a Change My Mind table.
Yep.
And it was protested. A Change My Mind table was protested.
They always are at this point. Yeah.
So we went over and tried to have a conversation with them. Like, I'm not gonna go over and be like, lib.
Oh yeah, no,
Try,
you're a respectful
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
I do believe that. Yeah, I guess it's like, listen, can people have their moral disagreements with Dylan Mulvaney? Yes, but to like call her ugly on social media and just to say all of this, like I don't understand
Yeah.
it. Like that was the part that really set me off. Is like, man, now this guy. Because listen, the argument that What Is a Woman was making is an interesting argument because, to be honest, yeah, the left has a bit of a contradictory viewpoint on that, as far as I know. And it was framed in an interesting way, and it seemed like he was doing some genuine like conversations with people. But then after that, then he started being mean, and I'm like, I just don't like this guy anymore because he's being mean. I just don't. But I get it. People still like him. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just not as much of a fan because I don't like the conflict entrepreneurial type mindset that whole thing has. While we're on the topic of that, now there's this whole Bud Light protest going on. And I don't really, to be honest, I don't care. I just wondered if you had any thoughts on that whole thing.
I was talking with some friends earlier. I think it's funny. They were like, the right does cancel culture better than the left does. Like Bud Light tanked, lost $5 billion. But we're not saying no one should buy Bud Light or anything. It's just like, oh, well, if you're going to.
But there is a protest over it. People are shooting it with guns. People are
okay,
shooting
well,
Bud Light
that's
with
dumb.
guns.
Like, you literally bought it. Like, you spent money to get that. Like, how is that helping? Like,
already had it,
that's
yeah,
what you're talking about, like, just for views and stuff.
Yeah, like that's
Like,
the
what are
stuff
you
that
doing? Yeah,
that's
if
the
someone
stuff
ran,
that
I saw, like, there were cases and running over with their cement truck or whatever. I was like, what does that do? But then you have the bars and other places like, no, I'm no longer offering this.
Sure, and that is their
Yeah.
decision as a private business
And
or whatever to
that's
do
a
that.
better way to show the company that they aren't okay with that than,
Right.
you know.
Did you see what Rogan said about it?
I didn't.
I pull it up. It was actually really funny. I got this text this morning, but it's a Twitter thread, and it says based red-pilled woke king Joe Rogan, talking about the Bud Light thing.
Oh,
Here he goes. Rogan says, how is that a big deal? I think it's goofy because I think that person is goofy, talking about Dylan Mulvaney.
Mhm.
But if you want to hire a goofy person, who gives a shit? It's kind of hilarious when somebody says 365 days of womanhood. It's also just a can with that person's face on it. That's all it was. It wasn't like stuff they were selling.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but they obviously, I don't want to make assumptions, but usually when they do that, they send them, and it's a brand deal, and they're like, oh, if you can promote our product, that'd be great.
Yeah,
so that was
I'm
like a
assuming that's what it
collaboration.
was.
Yeah, that's a collaboration with them. There are other companies who are, I don't know. I haven't checked into Nike's financial information yet, but I know that Nike partnered with Dylan Mulvaney, and they did had him, yeah, the sports bra.
This is interesting then. Okay, so I was curious about this. Okay, so like because this is I think what happened. Like didn't the left do a similar thing with My Pillow?
What, like protest it?
Yeah, and weren't using it like that kind
of.
Yeah,
they like boycotted it.
Yeah, they
which is fine.
boycotted
I'm not
My
like,
Pillow.
oh, look at these people. Like if you don't like the message that Mike Lindell has, then don't buy the product. That's
right.
fine.
Yeah.
But now I see and I'm sure people on the right got upset with that. I didn't. I don't care.
Right.
But now you have people on the left who are like, oh my gosh, imagining boycotting this, like homophobic, transphobic, blah, blah, blah. So no, I just don't think that was I just think that was kind of weird.
Yeah, that's the point that I was making is like everybody does it.
Yeah,
for different reasons. Everybody's going to boycott the product.
And then you have, I don't know if you remember what happened with Goya a couple years back.
What's Goya? Isn't that like a
It's
chocolate
like,
brand?
no, it's like the beans.
Oh, the beans. Oh,
Yeah.
Coffee beans or regular?
No, like black
Like
beans,
big,
pinto beans. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
But
not remembering.
I don't know the exact details, but we were talking about this the other night. I think like the president of it like donated to like a Republican or came out supporting a Republican candidate, and the left got really mad, and the right went out and just like bought out Goya.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
One of my friends is like, we still have Goya in our house. Like my mom cleared the shelves to like show support for the company. Like that's a good way to protest or something. Like if someone comes out and you support them even more. If you don't like it, you don't do it.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think either side should be getting upset. I did a TikTok about it the other day, and people were like, "Oh, imagine being mad over Bud Light." And I say, I'm not mad. I'm just saying, look, this company made this business move. It didn't work out, and it's showing.
So here's the thing. I kind of get worried about this whole situation. It seems like at this point, there's not a single aspect of our society that the culture war hasn't touched. It's leaked into everything. And whenever I see this whole, brands can do whatever they want to do. I don't want to restrict anybody's ability to do anything really in that regard. But yeah, it just seems like, I don't know. It's like I see all this stuff.
Did you see what happened with Lego?
Yeah, and it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? I don't care. Legos are still going to be bangers, dude. They're still going to be cool. Like, and I'm not trying to put other people down who care about that kind of stuff. But my thing is, like, when does it end? When is it done?
Well, like, my point is, like, why? Why do you need to have a book with sexual terms using
What did
Legos?
they do? I didn't remember what they did. Did they do, like, a disabled Lego person?
Oh, no, I don't care about that. No, what I saw was, like, a book, and it was, like, a A through Z book. And it was like each letter was built with Legos, and it had like a word that started with that, but it was like I is for intersex or N is for non-binary. It's like, Lego, just be a Lego. Just be a toy.
Oh, Brickman's Ultimate Lego A to Z. Is that the one that they're talking about?
What I saw was like I is for intersex, N is for non-binary. And it's like, you're literally a building brick. Why do you got to get involved with this?
Oh, it looks kind of cool, but okay. I didn't read it. I didn't, but that's, I guess, my thing is like it's starting to infect everything now, and everyone's gonna start doing this, and then before you know it, it's gonna be like you're gonna be judging somebody in the store because they're buying Bud Light.
Yeah,
and I just don't. I don't like the way that goes. I don't like the path.
I don't think you should judge other people, but I think that you can buy extra or not buy it if you aren't happy with the.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course, obviously. I mean, people have done that forever, even before the culture war was a thing. People have done that. People have bought other brands over other brands for certain reasons. I guess I'm just concerned, like, with all the stuff that I'm seeing. I mean, even the stuff over at Pitt, I gotta know. Like, I'm just curious. Like, for you, when are you, like, I'm just genuinely asking this question. When do you feel like it's enough? When have we gone far enough? Where does it end?
In what regard?
The entirety of the culture war. When does it end?
It's not gonna end.
When's it over?
I don't think so.
Is there a point for you, though, where you'd be like, all right, we can stop now?
Okay, so back to the Dylan Mulvaney thing, like, people are like, well, if we just stop giving him attention, it will end. Like, he literally is just doing this for attention. Because I don't know if you know, but he was, like, a very flamboyant gay before he came out as a transgender individual.
Did not know that.
People from the right, which you're probably not going to agree with this, and this might be a little bit extreme, but are like, he didn't get enough attention. He started his social media accounts. He tried this. People recognize him as this flamboyant individual. And now he's like, oh, I'm transgender. I'm a girl. And he started getting views and clicks and brand deals. And now he just flaunts it. So people are like, if we just stop ignoring him and giving him the attention, then it will die down. But in my opinion, if we don't ignore that and say that that's wrong and that he needs help, he's just gonna continue to run with it and make more money. And so I don't know. I mean, it might die down, but I think that someone's always gonna have an issue with something. So I don't think that it will ever end.
All right. I mean, I kind of agree with you. I was curious if you had any, like, if there was like because that's the thing. No one has an endpoint. No one has that's the problem with this whole thing. I think is that we have not laid out the terms of play, and there's no finish line.
Well, like,
and it's just gonna destroy. It's gonna destroy.
Looking at the Pitt situation, it's gotten worse. Like, there was a protest for the Cabot Phillips one. For the Riley Gaines, they moved the protest into a street intersection. This one, I was on campus yesterday, and there were flyers that said "Shut down Michael Knowles." So they're not even like protesting like they're trying to shut down the event and prevent it from happening. So it's just progressively gotten worse. So, I mean,
Yeah.
on a topic as sensitive as gender ideology, that's kind of what I expect. And Michael Knowles is obviously a little bit more well-known and controversial than the other speakers, so I also expected it to be a little bit more crazy on Tuesday. But no, I memean, topics are going to continually get more sensitive, and things are going to progressively get more debatable and divided, and so I mean, I think it's just going to continue to get worse.
I talked to you about, like, we've had a couple of private conversations about that stuff that's been going on at Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it's okay that I speak this into a microphone. But like the one thing that I really respected that you told me was that the reason why you were so outspoken about the events at Pitt was because you were standing up for your friends.
No, they were getting harassed, bullied, threats. I'm not gonna say some of the threats on. I don't want to get you guys off of YouTube, but no. After hearing that, and then literally coming to me like, "What do we do? We're alone." Like I was in that position at this university, so I've been through the ropes. I know what it's like, and I would never want someone else to go through that. So no, I'm like, I'm not, and they never let me hit the end of this, but like, you don't even go here. Why do you care? It's like, no, if you're going to be attacking my friends for their views and accusing them and calling them names, and I know that they aren't the things that you're calling them, yes, I'm going to defend them. So that's why I'm so vocal. And then with the social media aspect, I do have a little bit more engagement on my platforms and stuff, so I did want to bring attention to what's happening, and I've written a whole bunch of articles about it. I've been very opinionated on social media, but no, I mean, they're my friends, and I'm going to have their back.
And I really respect that, because if that was happening to the Bridge USA chapter Pitt, I'd be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And this is something that we also talked about, is that I posed the question of, like, again, when does it all end? Is there a point where, because I just think that everybody has to de-escalate without sacrificing their positions.
Yeah,
and I think that it's possible. Like, I can name ways that everyone could do it. I'm not saying that I'm this person with all the solutions, and you made the argument that, like, I don't see the other side backing down.
No, not at all.
So I don't want to back down.
No, not at all.
And I understand that. This is selfish, but it makes my job a lot harder.
Well,
but also I just don't like it, because I'm friends with people on both sides, and I see them being nasty to each other, and I just don't understand it, because I know them as
This is
people.
the ideal situation for the Michael Knowles. People who like the event, go in, enjoy yourselves. If you don't like it, stand outside and protest and make your voice heard.
Okay.
I'm not saying that the protest shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm kind of against the protests. I think they're protesting for the wrong reason. I think that they've been fed a lot of misinformation about what Knowles said and kind of the whole conservative movement around gender ideology.
To be fair, he did say transgenderism needs to be eradicated. Now, I don't know if he meant exactly that. Do you know what he meant? Because I'll be honest, that is wild.
He's talking about the ideology and how it's shoved down everyone's throats. But the left has twisted that and said he wants to eradicate trans people. He wants to kill us.
To be fair, that is kind of what he said. It's not what he meant. Because I understand what he's saying. Like, he's saying that we have to put a little bit of a dampening thing on, like, the gender ideology stuff. We have to, that kind of thing. I do think that was very poor wording on his part, to be completely honest.
I'm gonna agree with you. Like, he definitely could have said it differently, but then you talked about the social media clicks and the money making and stuff. So yeah, I mean, he got what he wanted out of that. He went viral,
and I will say the reason why I disagree with what these people do, but I don't like to really hate on them, is because I know that that's just the incentive structure.
Yeah,
the incentive structure. I think they're all broken, and you gotta hate the game. You don't hate the player. I mean, I dislike some of the players, but I also like some of the players. Like, so that's kind of the thing. And honestly, but that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, the incentive structures are broken, but I think that it can be changed by everyday people. I think that Michael Knowles could have set a precedent for other conservatives by saying something that was a little more, like, gently. And I get it. I'm not saying to be gentle and to, like, coddle anybody.
Yeah.
But I do think at some point, like, we have to all tone it down a notch.
I agree.
I think that everybody does.
Yeah.
But again, I get it. He wants.
I mean, it was said. It's the damage has been done.
And I think that a lot of people are, and I also think that it doesn't make conservatives look good. that doesn't make anybody look good, and it really doesn't help. Okay, now this another thing. Do you know who Destiny is? The Twitch streamer.
Heard, but not
Okay.
familiar.
He made the argument that he was, and I actually like him a lot. He's actually pretty cool. Mainly because his viewpoints are, didn't like box himself in. He's like a liberal who, he claims that he's on like the far left. He's like, if I reach really far, I can touch the middle. But I don't know, because he's like capitalist, and he's actually a big supporter. Like, he actually likes the job that Biden's done, but also like he engages with a lot of people on the right and all this stuff. But he was like, I think that like conservatives need to take a step back. And I think he was saying this like without sacrificing their positions, essentially saying that like, yeah, conservative voices aren't being put in the rooms where talks about gender ideology are happening, and they need to be, because they have genuine concerns. But the rhetoric that they put out there has made it so that they're not being invited to those rooms, sometimes for genuine reasons.
No, I mean, there are people who are just like, trans women aren't women, and eradicate transgenderism and stuff, which I understand what they're saying, but that's not a way to have the left recognize your
position and your concerns. Yeah, I think that's at the end of the day. Like, I think that you can be opinionated. Like, that's the one thing. That's the one thing about Bridge USA that drives me crazy.
Okay, so like
everybody thinks,
like, I think people explaining their full stance on the issue helps too.
Yeah.
Like, personally, if you're 18 and up, I still don't agree with transgenderism, but you're an adult. If you want to do that to yourself, do it. Does it mean I have to agree with that? Does it mean I have to support you in doing that? No, I don't agree with that. Now, when it's being pushed in schools and kids are saying they're transgender, and it's happening because I have a relative who's going through this right now, but and then people are saying that minors should be able to be on puberty blockers and get hormone treatments and stuff. I'm like, no, that's not. Kids can't consent to a lot of things. Why should that be one of them?
Yeah, that's kind of the one area where I do agree with you. I think that.
And I've seen pictures of post-surgery, and it's sad. It pisses me off that that's something that is acceptable in society today.
Yeah, that's the one area where I am feeling like, I try not to get super like hard line on stuff, and not because I don't want to pick a side. I do want to pick a side, but I do feel some responsibility to still try to be that person that anybody can come talk to about this stuff. And I think that I've still done that, but. Yeah, I think that's the one thing is like they can't consent to that stuff.
Yeah.
And like and you don't know what the long-term effects are. And it's that's all messy, and I don't really engage with this topic very much just because people feel so strongly about it. And I'm not an expert on anything. I do know that it in my heart it feels wrong.
Yeah.
But yes, I don't know.
But that's when like college students and adults who are trans who say that you're trying to take away our rights. It's like, no, if you're an adult and you want to spend your money on that, or, alter your appearance or identify a different way, like, no one's saying that you're not allowed to do that. But I don't think it's fair for you to enforce your lifestyle on everyone else, or say that you have to agree with this or support me or refer to me this way. But you have every right to do that. But when it comes to under 18, I'm like, this is not acceptable, and I don't know why this isn't a more agreed upon thing, that this shouldn't be happening in this country.
Well, I think it's because I don't know if I can fully argue for the progressive perspective on this, because I don't think I fully know all of it. I think I understand where they're coming from. I don't really disagree with it, but I get it, because they're saying like, if these people, it's if the kid genuinely feels like they're in the wrong body and it's such a struggle, then we should try to help them out in any way that we can. But
I don't think that.
And I get I get it. I get where they're coming from.
Are helping.
But I don't know. Yeah, I think that a part of me also does think like a part of growing up is that it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like growing up is just not easy. Like everyone
hated it. I hated middle school. I hated that time of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, like, this isn't a comparison, but I don't think that, like, putting myself on meds and altering my appearance and stuff would have fixed that. Now I know that's other people may think that and think differently and have different experiences, but I just think that, and especially now that it's so like prevalent in the younger generation, that it's becoming more of a trend. Like people will see that and be like, "Oh, interesting. Well, maybe I haven't thought about that. Maybe I am born in the wrong body or something."
I think there is. I would. Okay, I don't want to. I don't engage with this topic for a reason. Because I don't really know. But I know I do think it's entirely possible that there is a social contagion aspect to it.
Yeah.
I think that those people are. I think that they're real. I don't deny their existence. I think that they're real. I
No,
also
they're
think
obviously you're a real human being, and that's another argument. You're denying my existence. Like no one's saying that you're fake. No one's saying that you're not a real person.
Yeah, but when you say that, when Michael Knowles says that I'm not trying to like bring up the old wording again. Go back. I'm just saying like what he said. Whenever he says that, people say, okay, well that thing that you're saying needs to be eliminated is an integral part of my identity. So you're saying that that part of me needs to be gone. I think that's where they're coming from. Is like, I get it. Like you're trying to deny my existence thing. Like that technically you're not. But I do think whenever you get into that territory of like saying that that doesn't need to be a thing,
Yeah,
that's tough. But anyway,
I understand that. Yeah,
I digress. Let's carry on here.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to my boy Donnie T. What's this?
Free
what's
my
the
boy Trump.
What's the
Play the
stat?
Trump thing.
Obama. What's the status of the indictment? Because I haven't followed it at all.
Apparently, he was in New York yesterday. I just heard about that last night.
Okay. What are we thinking? Guilty, innocent? What do you think it's going to be? What do you think he's going to be?
I think it's going to be guilty.
Think it's going to be found guilty?
Do I think he's guilty? No. Do I? But I think that's going to be the way.
So you don't think he's guilty of anything that he's been accused of?
Well, from what I heard, something about like the statute of limitations is out of play, because in New York it's like it has to have happened within the past 5 years or something, and it happened 7 years ago. So I don't know if that's a case that they're going to try to use.
He caught like what was it, 36 felony charges.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in the 30s.
So there was also like it's all tax and financial stuff from what I understand.
Which is crazy that's
Okay.
what they're going after him for.
Well, I think that it's partially legit. I mean, I think that's partially legitimate. It also is.
I think
like,
it's wild, like, and from my understanding, they're not like, it's not like Trump's trying to hide that transaction. Like, it's out there, it happened, it was paid for, but it's how he financed it. Like,
yeah, that's the problem.
They're trying to get him on whether it was campaign funds that used that or his own money. Correct me.
Yeah,
if I'm wrong.
and I think it was campaign funds. I think that's, or at least from what I've heard, it was.
So they're saying that he shouldn't have used campaign funds and should have used his own money.
Yeah, I think
they're not charging him for that transaction. They're charging him for the way that it was funded.
No, yeah, because I don't think that paying hush money is anything seen as like particularly. Is it kind of fucked up? Maybe, but I think a lot of people, like everyone does it. I think that is the whole point, though. Is like, yeah, I think
Clinton did it. Like,
I think it was campaign money, and that was not supposed to be done. But either way, okay. So if he's found guilty, what does that do to him? And okay, now you want to hear something funny? We can make more election predictions that can be completely wrong.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Round
Let's
2.
do it.
Maybe I should be like, Biden's gonna win in 2024.
Put a little graphic in the bottom that's like election predictions happening. Spoiler alert for 2024. Okay, well, what happens to Trump if he gets found guilty?
He can't run.
I think he can.
I heard that he can't. I don't think you can run if you have a felony charge.
No, that is not actually
really
on the list of what it requires to be president.
Run from prison?
Yeah,
that
you
would
can.
Be interesting.
You can. The debate's Trump in an orange jumpsuit in his
it's
cell.
Just like he's like behind bars. So like the only people in here are the fake media with his arms like sticking out of the jail cell,
pointing at cameras.
Oh jeez.
Oh no, hold on. I actually have to Google
I don't know.
this.
I mean, like from what I've seen, and again, like you're like get off the social media, but from what I've seen, this is hyping him up more.
I fully agree. No, this is doing nothing for the conservative base, but making it more popular.
Yeah.
Nothing.
which I'm not a fan of. I don't want him to be the. I
You've
think I've
talked
told you
about this.
Yeah, I don't want him
you're
to
not
be
on.
the.
You're not on the Trump train.
No, I mean I am. I mean I'll vote for him if he's the nominee, but I don't want him to be the nominee.
My uncles in Florida are on the Trump train. Anyway, okay. So now if Trump, okay, so we're saying that if he's found guilty, he's bro's gonna run either way, probably. Probably gonna run either way.
I don't see him backing out.
I didn't bring my water.
I have one I didn't use yet.
Really? Yeah. I don't want to give any companies free airtime, but it's fine. I'll take
It's literally a name, like the store brand.
Okay, cool. Thank
Not
you, sir.
like Deer Park or anything.
I appreciate that. Shout out to Great Value.
I like Great Value because it's a great value.
Their water kind of sucks.
No,
Anyway,
you don't like it?
I appreciate you giving me the
I
bottle
like
of
them.
water, though.
I like it.
I've never been a bottled water guy. I've always been like a from the tap or from like a filter in the
no.
fridge. I will
It has to be
drink.
filtered.
I will drink tap water. Not all the time, but I do sometimes.
If I'm
anyway,
like dying of thirst, I'll come in and turn the faucet on and run my head under there. But no, I'm not gonna fill up
Right.
a cup of tap water.
Okay, so if they do go after Trump and if they do get him, should they go after other people that have
Yeah,
done similar
100%.
stuff?
If
Like,
they
should
don't, like that's wild.
should they go after? So at this point, should they go after? Do you think they should go after Hillary?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Clintons, I think, paid more money in hush money, but again, that's not the technicality they're getting him on. It's the
It's the campaign
Yeah.
money. I mean, let's be fair. There's other things you can get the Clintons on. If we're gonna be honest, there's other.
I'm not gonna say that stuff on air because I'd like to live a couple more years.
I think everyone said it. I'll say it. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, okay. So then here's the question I have to ask you then. Does this idea that we're going after all the politicians now, everyone's committed crimes, we're going after
Wild.
everybody.
It's crazy.
Is that a slippery slope, and does that make us look weak internationally?
I do think people should be held accountable. Obviously, if Trump was guilty of something, yes, charge him. But just the fact that it's like happening, I guess it was 7 years after it happened, and it's clear that it's just a political attack. Like no one's, you know what I mean? And the DA like voted for Biden or contributed to the Biden campaign. Like they found that out, so he's obviously a little bit biased. And what I was talking to a friend about this. How do you find a jury that's not biased?
In Manhattan, that's the biggest worry that I would have. You're not going to find
People
a bias.
love Trump or they hate Trump.
Yeah.
You're not going to find
Well,
anyone
and
that's-
also there's also the worry that like Trump has so many connections in so many areas. It actually might be in the other direction. Like you can't find a biased jury against him.
Yeah.
So either way, I think
Yeah,
that's a
no,
problem,
no,
no matter
well,
which side
no,
you're
well,
looking at from.
I mean, it's a concern that people hate Trump, but obviously, for it to be a fair trial,
That's
like
be neutral.
I don't want people who love Trump on the jury either.
Right.
Like
It's got to be. It's got to
like,
be. An
there's
unbiased.
no like you can't find a biased person when Donald Trump and an unbiased person when Donald Trump's involved.
Yeah, you can only find people that could look at that objectively. I don't even think you should look for. I don't even think you should look for unbiased people. You should just look for people that can look at it objectively, or as objectively as
Yeah,
possible.
I guess.
Because you're not going to find someone that goes, I don't feel any sort of way about. Actually, I know some people that might actually say that, but they're pretty apolitical. So
Yeah. Well, those would be the
What is
only
this?
people. Those would be the only people up. Only people allowed.
anyway,
Do you hear music?
no, but you hear music in your headphones.
Yeah. I've been dying.
Wait, let me have your
It
headphones.
must have been something
Wait,
you
you may actually
said.
be picking up on one of the local. Apparently, this happens. You pick up on the local channels.
It's very quiet.
Wow, bro's hearing music from another channel. That's crazy.
I've been dying in your arms tonight.
How do I fix that?
The mics won't pick it up, so it's fine.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, sir. You may just have to live with that for the.
No. I don't mind, but we just stopped talking and I heard it.
Yeah, and then you heard music. All right, we have some other things here. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. This is interesting. Okay, so like, yeah, Trump. I do think that this whole thing is slightly politically motivated, at least to a certain extent. Do you think that he's partially to blame for that?
I mean, he made people hate him that bad, so kind of got what was coming for him.
That's.
I mean,
kinda what
it was
thinking.
bound to happen. I just didn't think it was going to be on this. I thought it would be something else.
Right. Okay. Um, yeah. Now we can talk about. Well, you got to get out of here at 1:15, right?
I mean, I could be a little bit after.
Okay. Okay. We'll carry on then. What are your thoughts on the AI deepfakes?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really keep up with the AI stuff. But if you wanna give me a brief synopsis,
Okay.
then
No, I'm not gonna because I don't know enough about it. I just, have you seen Donald Trump and Barack Obama playing
Yeah.
CS:GO together?
I mean, I think it's funny, but it's also crazy that that's like possible.
that it's that close.
Like
to
it's
being-
very accurate. Like
Yeah.
they sound very like
It's close. In a
Yeah.
couple years, it'll be indistinguishable. And then here's the thing. I actually think they'll get less funny over time because they'll get more accurate. I think what makes them so funny right now is that we can recognize that whatever that thing is, it's trying to sound like Donald Trump, but it can't quite get it. And that's kind of what's so funny.
yeah.
Is that they don't have the mannerisms and stuff down. But okay, then we'll kind of glaze over that. I was curious if you had any thoughts.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not really too well versed in that topic.
And that okay, very cool. Okay, this is interesting because this is something that I heard a couple of people talk about. This is something that we talked about at the Bridge Summit. Was like American intervention on like the global stage. Can you make the argument sort of for why the world does need a strong America and an argument for why the world doesn't?
I'm just like, we're just such a wealthy country, and we do a lot of international funding and provide military assistance and things like that. So, I mean, if we aren't in a strong state, a lot of other countries are screwed because a lot of other countries, like especially the smaller ones, like rely on us, whether that be trading, military funding. But no, I mean, I think that
I'm listening. Keep going.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think that I think that the world does need a strong America. I don't really see for why it doesn't, because I think that wouldn't really help anyone. I mean, having not a strong America doesn't help us, and then all the other countries are kind of screwed too.
Okay.
Do I think that we should be funding everyone and providing all this stuff? No, but I think that a lot of countries do benefit on us being in a good position.
Okay. Yeah, that was an argument that Russell Brand made on. He was on Real Time with Bill Maher, and he was like, "You guys got to fix your shit because the world needs a strong America, like,
Yeah.
especially right now."
Was that the same interview when he was talking about the propaganda?
On MSNBC.
Yeah.
Yes. It's pretty.
I did see that clip.
I'm a Russell Brand.
Is he
fan.
always
Pretty
political?
He wasn't earlier on. In his
Okay,
career
because
back
I
when
was
he
like, I
acting.
don't know if he just like got like fed up and just like lashed out on air.
No.
But
For the last couple of years, he's been political. Yeah, but earlier on in
with-
his career, he was not. He was an actor.
I might be wrong. Was he with Katy Perry, or is that someone else?
I think they were at one point, actually. I don't know. Either way, I don't know. But yeah, so he's been political over the last couple of years. He's been more political,
Yeah.
and he's actually the Daily Wire is doing that show called The Search with Ben
And
Shapiro.
he was on there.
He was on
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
That was cool because they're
I didn't
friends.
see the whole thing, but I saw a
The
clip
clips,
of it.
yeah. I thought that clip was cool because the fact that those two can sit down and have a conversation is really great because they don't
Yeah.
actually agree on a lot, and them just
Mhm.
being friends, I don't know. It's like that's how bad this whole situation has gotten. Like whenever I see something like that, I just get so happy, and I just love seeing that because it's a lot rarer than it should
Yeah.
be. All right, I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, I really only have a couple because we already covered some of them. You had to rate right now. Live rating Brett Cooper on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, 10. Oh my gosh. I'll buy her chocolate bars anytime.
You posted
Beautiful.
on your Instagram story. You were like, "I'll buy anything she tells me to."
Oh my gosh.
That is so funny. She is pretty.
No,
she is
she's
pretty. And
gorgeous.
she seems smart. And honestly, I don't watch her show really ever. I watch. I don't know why, but like Snapchat recommends me her show, and I sometimes
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
it. And it's kind of fun. It's mainly because the Daily Wire has some of the best editing teams on ever
for
right
sure.
now.
Yeah,
Their editing
yeah.
teams are insane. But yeah, I had to get that out of you. We had to have that on air.
Exposed.
No, I had like 5 rapid fire questions, and we got through almost all of them. What's your favorite interview that you've ever done?
That's a good one.
As you interviewing somebody, and then maybe the other way as well, both.
Well, I mean, Laura Ingraham was my favorite
Okay.
media
Gotcha.
appearance.
Yeah.
Obvious reasons, but
Cut off his mic. He didn't say not just politics episode. No kidding. No, that was interesting though. I mean,
no,
that's a valid excuse.
I do I really do enjoy this though because it's
fun.
I like the conversation.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Answer this question.
Oh yeah, and I didn't like to. I didn't want to make it interview the second time. It was too much. No, but honestly, that's a valid answer.
Yeah.
The Loring game run. That's man. Hey, that's.
I mean,
that's,
it was. Yeah,
getting on that show is no small
I mean,
thing.
it literally launched my
Yeah.
interest and career in journalism. So,
Come on.
I'm
This whole
trying to
mic is so
think.
wobbly. Like, look at that.
Yeah,
It's too much.
that's-
Got to tighten it up. I don't know how to fix that. I'll talk to Wayne after this, maybe.
From a like I'm proud of myself
Or just like
perspective,
the most fun you had, like the coolest one, the best answers,
I-
like of you interviewing someone.
I would say Riley Gaines.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a lot more like this, like I said, conversation based. I was able to be a little bit opinionated in it. All of my other interviews, I interviewed Kat Kamik, Congresswoman from Florida, and that was like my first like politician that I was able to interview. So I would say that that's pretty high up there too. But that one was more of me asking like non-biased questions and having her be the only one to give her input, and then I'd be like, okay, thank you, next question. So I just liked how they flow more. And I lucked out with the Riley Gaines thing because she's blown up since. So I was like, if I didn't interview her then, she'd probably never contact me or respond to anything.
Right.
So I'm lucky. I'm lucky she was assaulted after after I interviewed her.
Yeah. We don't have a whole lot of time here. I guess we'll maybe try to keep the section short. Yeah. Her story is. I can't deny that her story isn't. I can't deny that her story is compelling. I can't. Despite the fact that, I think that she, she's a conservative individual. There's nothing wrong with that. So she's going to fall more to the conservative side. But yeah, no, I mean, she seems very genuine from that time that I interacted with her. She seems very genuine. And her story is compelling.
I mean, because like most speakers on both sides make a lot of money from coming to these schools. And they don't do meet and greets, and they speak, and then they head out.
They're out. Yep.
I spent the entire day with Riley Gaines. I picked her up from the airport. We ate lunch together. We did I think the episode was like 38 minutes or something of just sitting down and chatting. Drove her over to the event, hung out at the event. She literally was walking around the room, meeting people, talking with everyone, taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The event happened. Afterwards, I drove out and we went to dinner, and we were at a restaurant for like 2 hours with like some of the Turning Point members.
Yep.
So most people don't do that.
No.
And
Probably
she might not be able to do that anymore just because it's more of a security reason, which I like. Obviously, Ben Shapiro is not going to come and go out to dinner with you and walk around the crowd.
No.
That's a safety concern. But no, she was definitely very interested in making friends and connections, and she wasn't like, oh, I'm a big shot, people get to hear me speak, I'm gonna leave. So that was cool. But no, I mean, I'm not saying she's not genuine now, but just from how much she's blown up and the amount of media stuff she's doing now, like it would have been very rare to be like, hey, I'm a random college student, you want to come sit down and talk to me? She'd be like, no, I have to be on Fox in 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, that's actually the cool thing about the Bridge national team is like they haven't been to this campus yet, but when they do, they like go out to dinner with the chapter afterwards
it's nice,
and stuff like that. That stuff's kind of cool. I like that. All right. Well, I think it's almost 1:15 at this point. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Anything you would like to talk about right now? The floor is open to you.
I mean, I'm graduating. I'm excited.
That's cool.
I have I don't know if I told you about my idea to decorate my cap, but stay tuned.
Oh no, what are you gonna
I'm
do?
excited.
Oh no.
I'm excited. Let's just say I got a really cool photo shoot planned.
Is it a giant
It's probably not what you think, but it's political, but it's not
Okay.
it's not the classic I graduated without being indoctrinated or anything like that.
Is it going to be a red
Red shouldn't be involved, no.
I don't know.
So I'm going to have my MAGA hat on and my cap, and I'm going to throw the cap, when I'm on stage, throw the cap and be like, no. No, I'm just, from all the negative
I'm really hoping that was, I was really hoping you were kidding because I was like, Logan, you can't do that.
No, I would never. No, I'm, from everything that I've been through here, I just want to make it a in your face. You tried to ban me from this university, and now I'm graduating.
Damn. All right.
So it's gonna be my final send off, and
Okay.
I'll be out.
And you'll have
I'll
escaped
never step foot back on
Point
this
Prank.
campus.
Yeah. Wow, you're not going to come back for another episode?
If it's in here, this isn't campus.
That's true. If it's in the CMI, you wouldn't do it?
Maybe.
All right. All right. Okay.
No, I would.
Okay. I hope so. I hope you would. Yeah, graduating, that's exciting.
Yeah.
What's the actual date that you're graduating on? Like,
I
what's
think it's the 30th. I don't even know,
Okay.
to be honest.
Gotcha.
I think it's a Saturday or Sunday.
You got everything lined up for that? You ready to get out of
No,
here?
not yet. I'm still working on things.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
alright.
still figuring it out, but I've been
Um,
working with administration just to make sure that we're all good.
What's the any immediate plans? You sticking around here for a little bit?
I mean, my lease isn't over until end of June, so
Okay.
gonna stick that out. Chill in the city, work a little bit,
Mhm.
vacation, travel, hopefully a little bit. And then I want to be living in the DC area, like full time by the end of this year.
All
Like
right.
I want to be fully moved in and working.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a wrap. Logan Dubil.
That's a wrap. It was
Thank
a
you,
pleasure.
sir. Pleasure.
Al-
I appreciate you.
Always a pleasure.
I appreciate you. That was fun. Bye, everybody. See ya.